Greetings and welcome to another episode of Ball Chat Podcast. As you can see, I am Junior. I might look different for the last couple of months because I got my hair cut, and as promised, when football starts, the rest will go. So it's Junior, Ball Chat Podcast. My sister is here, my brother is here. Come on, Benton, what's going on?
Good enough. Good, can't complain.
Doing well. Junior, boy, you look a lot better, Reggie.
Pause. Hold on, Benton.
Yes, sir.
You just see your come on background look pretty.
Why? Come on, have a lot of players' jersey up on our background. Come on. How much you pay for those jerseys?
Excuse me. Medium, I'm a name. I'm still have one more jersey that I need for frame and put on the wall. Quarantine going crazy. So, I'm like a thing I'm supposed to do from long time. I've a couple more jerseys I need to put on the wall.
I love the background. Come on. I notice you're not letting go Darren Mattocks of Jamaican Drogba in the upper left corner. None. Ride with you, Darren Mattocks.
Darren, I'm a dupes. Darren is just misunderstood.
All right. Big up. Love it. Football family, welcome to another episode of Ball Chat Podcast, where we review the week's major news in the world of football, aka soccer. Football is back. One of the major leagues restarted this weekend, and come on, have a lot to say about this.
No.
Hold on. Benton. Before we start, I just gotta let people know that we are also live on Twitch. So if you know anybody that love football and want to talk about football or watch football, tell them that we're also on Twitch. Just search for Ball Chat. That's the name of the show, is Ball Chat, one word. And you have people out there that are saying they prefer Twitch. We are bringing it to you as well. Go ahead, Benton.
Engineer promoting in the middle of the show. Wait, leave the promotion until at the end, engineer. So football lovers, we're going to discuss the week's major news in the world of football now live on Twitch, a.k.a. courtesy of the engineer, Manchester United fan Junior, a.k.a. Farmer Ross, a.k.a. current ball head in the building. Live on Twitch, live on Island Sports Network on YouTube, Ball Chat Podcast, live on Island Sports Network on YouTube. We're also live on Ball Chat YouTube page, live on Ball Chat Facebook page. This is a family-friendly show. It's all about discussing the week's major news in the world of football. Live interactive show. We always promote and want fans to engage in the discussion or interact with each other and with the co-hosts and with the football family. Today's topic is all about Bundesliga kicking off. Ball game without fans. Wow, weird. Come on, I have a lot to say, as I said earlier. Ball game without fans. We're also going to discuss what's going on with Red Stripe Premier League. Mullines safe for another year. We had canceled it for 2 more years and Mullines safe. And also, EPL Project Restart. We had Troy Deeney's talking his mind. We'll get to that comments and the thoughts on the EPL Project Restart. UK government giving June 1st as a potential open up and starting for competition to kick off. Giving a green light for organized events to start. Troy Deeney has given his opinion on that. But stop of the show. Bundesliga to kick off. Come on. Disinfected balls, empty seats. Some people have masks on, social distancing. Your thoughts on football during a pandemic?
It was boring football. I mean, it was. The commentators didn't even help. It was just, I don't know. All right, it's the first game back from their extended break. So they didn't have a lot of training, not a lot of practice. So I'm going to give them this week as trying to find their feet. But it was boring football. I had to leave it and go in the garden. I mean, I'm planting 2 flowers. It was just ridiculous. I think we underestimate the importance of a good crowd, right? Mm-hmm. I realize now that the crowd really gives that extra oomph when it comes to playing football. It looked like a friendly in preseason, and it sounded that way as well.
Come on, you're hard to please. You watch women's football live and direct all the time. Isn't there a bunch of empty seats in women's football? especially when reggae girls are clear. Why you come talk up this noise now?
But you see though, this utter disrespect. As much as I love female football, you're comparing the Bundesliga with the reggae girls. Come on, as much as I love them, but not only that, so we should be used to empty seats by now because we do watch Manchester City play at home.
Oh, watch that. Watch that. Yo, Junior, let's get to the meat of the matter. Bundesliga restarted. You cut your hair because you wanted football to restart. Schalke versus Borussia Dortmund was supposed to be the premier matchup. Schalke lost that game 4-0. Your boy Erling Haaland scored. Some said defenders were practicing social distancing. Bayern Munich defeated Union Berlin 2-0. Was also one of the big matches in the Bundesliga. And also you had a couple intriguing matches at the bottom end of the table. But Junior, your thoughts on just having football back? I mean, were you happy?
Of course I was happy. Of course I had something to look forward to on a Saturday morning on TV again. But when I sit down and analyze, first of all, I got to give big shout out to the production crew. Because the first game, the production crew, they made an error with the mics on the field, where you were hearing all the reverbs of the sound bouncing off the stadium seats, with the sound bouncing literally off the field, off the ball, and coming through the mics 3-4 times, and you had like a little reverb in it. And then in today's game, they fixed it. So that showed that you have people that are sitting down and care about the production. Now, the product on the field, I agree with Camon, is competitively, it was a stupid game, but I think it served a greater purpose for the social aspect, where people can sit down and feel like them Saturday is coming back to normal. And I think the players, I think that is what they used to sell to the players, to say this is a reason for you to come back. And in my opinion, if you're not in the top 3, top 4, if you don't have a legitimate chance of winning the championship, I see those teams playing very vanilla and boring and uninspired, which is what we saw. The teams that seriously are contenders, they wanted to win while the opponents were like whatever. So they have to navigate that. But I think there's, and we'll talk about it later, but I noticed some things that I see that there are more social ambassadors, and I'm going to bring up Ozil later as well. So that's a precursor. That's a precursor.
Dalton Stewart, pick up yourself watching us, football family on Facebook. Dalton said, where is Nostradamus, Junior Pringle? Of course, football lovers just joining us, new to the Ball Chat Show. Junior predicted heavily that there wouldn't be any football for the rest of this year. Right, Junior? So this is where the Nostradamus sentiment is coming from. But come on, regarding the actual play, Bayern Munich, of course, won their game against Union Berlin. They sit at the helm just as the beginning of the weekend action took place. Mönchengladbach won their game also, but the surprising result was Freiburg against RB Leipzig. Looked like they're a little bit slow out of the blocks. I mean, your thoughts on actually going forward now with the rest of the season, providing that there is no hiccup?
I mean, teams are going to want to be promoted. Teams don't want to be relegated. They're fighting for it, and I think today means they came back from being 2-0 down to tie 2-2, so they are like moving out of the relegation zone. So for some teams, it's very important. For some teams, it's like me, because Dusseldorf down there a struggle. Bayern Munich is 4 points clear. Mm-hmm. I think those things, if they want to be crowned champions, I think they're going to take the league seriously and move forward. For me, as long as it's good football, I don't care. I mean, I have no dog in this race, to be honest. So if a Freiburg come win, or a Gladbach come and win, I mean, it's good for me.
Big up Jason Frame watching us on Ball Chat Facebook page. Jason Frame said, discovered a previously unknown side of me Saturday. Choose not to watch the game. Realize it is wrong, capitalize wrong, to put players' lives at risk just for money, which is what it all comes down to. Junior, come on and ask this question last week, and I'm going to ask it again this week. You guys feel comfortable watching football in this current climate? You know, but in an interesting article by Rory Simon of the New York Times, he said that he kind of alluded to the point, is this a testament of Germany being, the German government, German authorities being ahead of the curve of the rest of the other so-called developed nation in terms of testing, in terms of having its healthcare system infrastructure mobilizing at the beginning of the onset of this pandemic, and subsequently they can now at a stage where they can somehow shift back to normalcy in their everyday lives. Are you guys cool with watching football knowing that the other stuff around you is maddening?
I don't know. For me, I think it is. I don't know. I just think that if there was no football, I'd be okay with it. If the government is saying that I think it is safe to go ahead and play, I have no problem with it. Seeing that I wasn't the one who made that decision.
Okay.
Today, watching football, it was a little bit stupid. Stupid in the fact that they said they had 300 and something people at the stadium. Right? Remember, we talked about the game don't just consist of the players on the pitch and the referees. There's over 300 personnel at the stadium. They stay in different places at the stadium. But if you realize they use different dressing rooms, they are in hotels, they're quarantined from their friends and their family, and one team comes out before the other. So they're separated. Even on the bench, you see where they're separated, right? And they have the mask on. But then on the field, they're tackling. Yeah, and I'm like, they're tackling, they're charging the goalie. You know, so it's like, what is it? And then when you score a goal, you still touched. I'm like, they talk to each other. This player went up to this other player and whispered in his ear. And then at the end, he was saying, oh, I was just telling him the game plan. So it's like, it's either social distancing or there's no. So it was just, to me, it was like, we do all this, do the testing, we separate them before the game, only to bring them together during the game. Then you go and take them, quarantine them again, bring them. And so it's like, I just don't get the stupidity. I just think, and this is my opinion, not Barchat's opinion, that they should have just forget about this season and just plan it out properly and start next season. I mean, just it's like, I mean, what's the? It's just ridiculous to me. I mean, I'm sorry. In a way, I understand what Jason is saying, but for me, if the government says I think it is safe, the football body say that we think it is safe to go ahead and play, and it's on TV, I'll watch it.
Yeah. Dalton just said, so what are we gonna do? Scrap football for 2 years. They say this will go on for 2 years before it dies down. And ultimately, to allude to Dalton's point, we don't know how long coronavirus will be with us. And so the German Football League, Bundesliga 1 and 2, is kind of essentially a test kitchen or guidance for other leagues, how to try to maneuver the landscape of football in the climate of the pandemic. Right, Junior?
Yeah, and for me, I look at it, because honestly, I sat and watched a game, and what Kamon was saying, talking about the pageantry, talking about, well, even at one time they said they only have 4 ball boys or ball girls at the stadium. When you look in the stands, in the Bayern Munich game, you had 1 and 2 officials sitting in the stands. They all had on a mask. The medical staff had on a mask, but the coach doesn't have on a mask. They brought the camera to the tunnel, showing that both teams are coming out. And I asked myself, why are we doing this? And the answer is simple. For me.
Yeah.
If we have a group of people, if we have 50 people in an enclosed, controlled environment, and if we tested everybody and know that nobody has coronavirus, you don't need any social distance. Can we agree on that? If there's
so we cannot agree that we don't need, because we know that even if we test, the sensitivities of those tests is not guaranteed. Didn't you hear about a test that came back positive with a sample from papaya?
Right.
And goat.
but then, as funny as that is, that brings up a bigger problem because
Yes.
if why I said that in a controlled environment for 2 hours, if we are 100%, there's no 100% guarantee, but if we are 100% sure that nobody has the virus, all of this pageantry is not needed. The virus is not going to magically just come out of nothing. Somebody has to actively bring that virus in. So then I ask myself, if you guys are so confident and comfortable enough to play amongst yourselves, why are we doing all of this on camera? And the answer is simple. They are still acting as social ambassadors, telling their fans it is important to continue to practice social distancing, telling their fans it is important to wear your mask. This is the messaging that the footballers are doing up. It's just like the Just Say No campaign. It's bigger than football. It's bigger than the sport on the field. So we are killing three birds with one stone in essence. We are going to continue making money, drawing in revenue, but we are also going to play our part with giving the social messages, which brings up my Ozil argument. When people were killing Ozil a couple of weeks ago about not giving a pay cut, tell you what, all of these Bundesliga players should not give a pay cut. You know why? They are out there sending the message, which is more important than any money you can give, and risking their lives, quote unquote. Because just like the papaya, somebody might have been on the field today that gave a negative test, but is really positive, and then next week, whoever have the virus, what we're going to tell them? Oh, sorry about that. Go wrap up for 2 weeks. These are human beings, so they are doing their part as well as frontline workers. I would put that way. They are an essential service.
Dalton, Jason Frame says in his question to Dalton says, if needs be, Dalton, yes, suspended for 2 years. My question to you, and it's the same thing to us who come on and Junior, and you're a referee, come on. We also play Sunday football game, Junior. Jason said, would you go out to a ball ground to a pickup game now? And there is the complexity. These are not easy answers to easy questions to answer. I mean, come on, final words before we just run through the results on the Bundesliga and just overview the actual game on the field.
That's a good question, Jason, but I think it's an unfair question as well. For a pickup game, it's a choice, really. You're not obligated. There's no contract. You don't get paid to do it. It's like your boss telling you to come to work this morning. You're going to say, no, I'm not going to come because I don't want to. So it's a little bit different. I do understand what you're trying to say, but these are players that are under contract. I mean, it's difficult for all the players to say we're not going to play because this is actually their job. So I think the what they should demand is for them to be safe while performing their job. So that's completely different. If you want to pick up yourself and go play, my husband in there, I get fat. We see him go buy a bicycle because he wants to go, his football group on a Sunday morning. All them old man, they run up and down on the field. They're riding bikes. So they want football to come back, but at the same time, they're not going around the field to play football. So it's iffy and it's a little bit crazy. Yeah,
it's a difficult thing. Dalton Stewart says, I would. I mean, you will forward and play in this pickup game. But
hold on, Dalton. So if I dirt, I
dirt. But Jason is definitely bringing up the complexity of this whole issue and how each individual and each league essentially have to make their own decision in this scenario. But before we move on, the players that's risking their lives, Junior and Cologne, to play, what about the liability protection? We've seen medical reports, read medical reports about the severity of the coronavirus impact. I know in the EPL Project Restart, that's one of the concerns that some of the teams have expressed, where if a player gets infected and he has severe damage to his or his lungs, who's going to cover the costs? I suspect that. Do you know if anything in the Bundesliga or Bundesliga 2 that those players' health will be covered if he's infected and so forth, some of the adverse events that may happen from an infection?
The Bundesliga is structure is so good. The health
Okay.
insurance is very good. The unemployment is so good. So I don't see them not covering their players. If a player is out, like for
Yeah.
my kid, if he's out, I mean he's covered. He still gets paid. Maybe not from the club, but from whoever the insurance that covers them. So I think they'll be covered. It's like a job. If you travel or go on a business, right, and you get injured or whatever, you're covered because of your
Yeah.
job. So,
Yeah.
I mean, why shouldn't we assume the same with the
And
football?
we'll talk about that when we discuss Project Restart in the EPL, because that's some outstanding issues that need to be addressed in Project Restart. But just to go over the results of round 26 in the Bundesliga, Schalke lost to Bayern, Borussia Dortmund 4-0. Your boy Holland scored 14 goals in 13 games. He continued from where he left off. Hoffman defeated Hertha Berlin. Augsburg versus Wolfsburg. Augsburg lost. What's going on with Augsburg coach and his run out for toothpaste? They didn't have a manager on the sideline, and that's part of the implementation policy. If you leave the venue, Augsburg coach had to go out to get toothpaste. If you leave the venue, you have to be quarantined.
Allegedly.
He allegedly left the venue to go get toothpaste. If you leave the venue of the quarantine hotel or the isolated hotel, you have to adhere to 14 days isolation. Frankfurt lost to Mönchengladbach. Mr. Thuram, Marcus Thuram, was on the goal scoring sheet. They lost 3-1. And FC Cologne and Mainz with an entertaining match at the bottom side at the end of the table, ended at 2-2. Leverkusen and Leon Bailey rolls out tomorrow. You guys looking forward to that?
As long as the energy is better. But hold on, we talk about Junior's boy. Junior's boy scored 13 goals in 12 games. He has 41 goals this season in all competitions. So I don't see Borussia Dortmund holding on to this young man.
It's only a matter of time. Big up yourself, Kofi Paul. Kofi Paul says, Dalton, count me in for the Sunday pickup ball game or for the pickup game. Jason says, Neymar breaks his contract to party on his birthday. Dennis Bergkamp used a missed game because he chooses not to fly. I don't know what Jason's talking about. That's regarding the players and their contract, as you alluded to earlier. But you brought it up, Erling Haaland, Cavon, and Junior. You get to chime in here. I mean, it's only a matter of time before he moves on from Borussia Dortmund, right?
Of course, I think he has a buyout in his contract already. I think he did sign with a buyout, and I don't want to quote the number, but I'm keeping tabs on it. I'm collecting my 25 cents here and there to add to the Erling Haaland fund for the buyout to come to Manchester United. So,
and all about it is trying to get him to Manchester United. So
it's a 63 million pound buyout clause. Manchester United don't have them kind of money there.
Oh, sure.
And Alexis Sanchez contract, when we get that off the books, you think we'd have that money?
So disinfected balls, bench players wearing masks, social distancing in the celebration, Bundesliga restarted. It was okay, but like you said, it's something that we're gonna have to see how it all plays out. One final comment or one final quick question before we move away from Bundesliga. The stands are huge, empty. Could you actually bring a couple fans in?
And the social distancing?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Could you bring 1 or 2 fans in? Are you receptive to that idea?
How are you going to pick those fans, Benton?
You choose a raffle. Or something. And I mean, it's empty. It's huge. I mean, it's not like the
then if those fans, contract coronavirus, who's going to be responsible for the bill? I mean, like, you think they don't look at those things?
Yeah, that's another liability issue.
There's a team that they put cardboard cutouts in seats. I mean,
it's another liability issue. Just tell the fans to sign away their responsibility for protection at the entry. Dalton said Haaland will be a Liverpool player soon. I don't know, Liverpool have extra money lying around. All right. Moving away from the Bundesliga to the EPL and Project Restart, ongoing discussions took to the nuts level this week. Troy Deeney was very vocal. I'll try to get the quote from Troy Deeney. Junior have always asked, what about the players in this scenario? Project Restart tentatively looking at trying to kick off the EPL back in June 12th to finish out the season. Come on, and Junior, your thoughts on the recent development in Project Restart. I mean, Newcastle manager Steve Bruce said that he would like for them to delay the start in terms of giving players more chance to get in shape.
He's not the only one that said that. Raheem Sterling was on a Zoom call with Megan Rapinoe, and he said that the Premier League needs to start later than June 12th. He says he needs 4 to 5 weeks for players to get back in shape. And he also said that a couple of Project Restart meetings between them and the players have been cancelled. So as far as they know, there has been no communication. He doesn't know what's going on.
I personally find it funny how everybody just omitted the play. I don't know how that conversation went in Germany with the players at those clubs, but I don't see England conforming to it. And furthermore, the English FA, if they're smart, they will sit down, because as much as Germany is being a pioneer for restarting the leagues and stuff, the other countries are looking now and saying, okay, so you started the league and you did this in your broadcast and it never go over so well in the first weekend. We're not going to do that. You started your league and some of your players, Gnabry and Alphonso Davies, look like rubbish for parts of the game. Guess what? I don't want my high money players to look like rubbish on the field. So let's give them more time. The FA have a lot of problems. Come on, you brought up a key point. What if a player contracts coronavirus? All of these things have to be worked out behind the scenes, because if a player come out now and say, I have coronavirus and we just played a game last week, the legal battle is now going to be, when did you contract the virus? They never contract it on the field. So when did you get the virus? Did you get it on the way to the field? So all of these things come into play. Again, I don't know how that conversation went in Germany, but we haven't heard from the end of the players as yet. And the younger players haven't started talking yet. They haven't found their voice. Troy Deeney is pretty much on his last leg. He has nothing to play for next year. So if you want to freeze him out next year or 2 years, you say, okay, I'm going to retirement. Wait until the younger, bigger name players start talking.
Go ahead.
You saying Troy Deeney, big.
And to read, I read part of the quote from Troy. He says, quote, what are they going to do? Take money off me? I've been broke before, so it doesn't bother me. They're talking about not playing in front of fans until 2021. So if it's not safe enough for fans to be inside a stadium, why should it be safe for players to be in there? End quote. But that's an important, I guess, to answer Troy's question, is that fans probably won't be screened as heavily as the players. Exactly.
Right? Fans are the ones that are coming in, putting your life in danger.
And Danny Rose has also been very vocal on this issue. But regarding the younger players in the league, or the players who financially cannot afford to have the season be scrapped, there are more of those players, right, who probably don't earn the big money of the big boys in the league, who will try to play football.
I mean, maybe not. Willian has come out and said that he's in football groups, different apps, and they talk about it, and he says a lot of players are uncertain, they're unhappy about coming. I mean, not everybody wants to put themselves out there and take the heat from the fans, or maybe the coaches or the owners. But he's saying that a lot of players are very uncertain and they don't want to play.
Dalton Seal says if Raheem was winning the league, he wouldn't be saying that.
I agree.
As in,
I agree.
And maybe Dalton does have a point. If Manchester City was in pole position, he wouldn't be saying that.
It's not, but Yes,
I don't know.
but he also said that all the players, he didn't just say that's him and his team. He said all the players need time because if you're going to come back and play, you have to play for something and you have to be at your best. So I mean, it's not wrong. Dalton can be right too. I mean, two things can be right at the same time.
So
Not necessarily.
so can I ask you this question then? What
Yes, sure,
you guys think about this proposal then? Liverpool, you win the title, we'll crown you a title, and you go on by your business. But the next 10 games, the next 10 match days, and if you want to tier the teams, if you want to put them in pools or whatever, and let them play games behind closed doors. They're already practicing. Let them play games behind closed doors. It does not have to be an English Premier League game. Let them play them games just to stay fit, just to gain fitness, not stay fit, get fitness. So 2021, when you allow the fans to come in, the fans will be coming in looking at fit, ready to go teams, and you'll have a better product on the field. What are we playing for? We know Liverpool winning the title. So Belgium, I think Belgium just cancelled them season and award the title. I think Ireland, not Ireland, I think Scotland, one of them other European leagues just today announced that them finished with the season. What are we playing English Premier League games for? Just scrap it and then you decide them. Look, no preseason. This is preseason. You guys start playing amongst yourselves right now. Play regional games. Bring out your academy players. Play them if you don't want to televise it. Put it on YouTube live. You don't have to be on NBC Sports. And if NBC Sports want to make up a bag of nice, you break the contract, pay them the 20 billion or whatever they want. Because next year ESPN... No, hold on. It sounds funny. But you pay them the money that they're going to bitch about and say, take your money and go home. ESPN will come calling, and guess what, ESPN? I am bringing you physically fit teams ready to go at the start of the season, whenever the season starts. So NBC Sports will not, I will call them bluff. NBC Sports will never risk the future for just 10 games. Come on, man.
Dalton Stewart says 2 World Champion League spots.
No,
It's still up for grabs. So what, you cancel the season and just award the Champions League spot there?
No, yeah. Benton, for me, and I've said this every multiple weeks, no Champions League should be played next year. If we're still going to be in the midst of a pandemic, I cannot see Germany, who just got ahead of the curve before everybody, allow Juventus to fly from Italy to come to Germany to play the games. So where Champions League games going to play? We haven't talked about, we don't even know if planes going out, if the country is going to allow flights from international flights. So you going to tell me that we should still worry about Champions League if we know we'll have a pandemic for the next year and a half, or should we believe in fairy tales and think that a vaccine will be here December and we can all start over and then Champions League can start playing? For me, no Champions League next year. Every regional football play, you play in a regional tournament, your regional leagues, and you play for the future Champions League, which is the year after. Which by then we should have a vaccine or whatever. That's me.
Come on, we want to get you to chime in there on Junior's comments there.
Junior talk foolishness. And award the teams were in a Champions League spot. I rather we plan for Champions League and end up cancelling it, or than don't plan, then find a vaccine, the pandemic gone, or without, and winner of the Champions League. So I mean, Junior can say, that's true, Manchester United.
No, come on, no, because if you plan for Champions League next year, you're signing a TV contract, and if you cannot give them the 40-something or how much ever games that should be played on TV, what are you going to discuss with that TV stations via the contract?
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that.
Very, very, very good points. Jason Frame, sorry, Regin. Jason Frame says, Kofi, you said that, but would you be happy if the EPL comes back and Mane and Van Dijk get the virus? It's a great until a few of our favorite players are our team top players goes down. And so Dalton said that, Jason, you're saying it's only the football community these players can get the virus? So it's a very interesting dialogue. Dalton is bringing up the point that we're receptive to having the game comes back, but this idea of our players, our star players, contracting the virus and putting their life at risk, how do we deal with that if that actually happens? Come on, you're shaking your head. You want to chime in on that?
No, I mean, those are valid points. They're valid points. But we also have to remember that they're saying that for the remaining games, the players are going to be quarantined. I mean, how will players like being away from their family, from their loved ones? I mean, is it going to be only for this or when the new season starts? So I'm like, they're making money, but they're going to give up being with their family. They can't go anywhere. They can't have a good time. So like I said, name in the newspaper because they find a video with him a inhale balloon. And I'm like, these players can't do anything. You can't go out allegedly for toothpaste without the media all over. It's a new era, and I think it's interesting. Jason's and Dalton's points are actually valid. I mean, as I said, both can be true.
Yeah, and this just shows the complexity of trying to play football in the current climate. And regarding your point, come on, about the families, Grant Hanley, the captain of Norwich, and also spoke out with some reservation about playing in the current climate. He said his wife, his missus, is pregnant, and he's also very concerned about transmitting or getting the virus and then passing it on to her. So
yeah, and she's supposed to have baby in July, and the same thing with Ben Foster. Ben Foster is saying that he is not okay with footballers being tested more often than the hospital, the emergency workers.
Yeah.
And he went as far as to say that football is not essential. This is from Ben Foster, a footballer. Yeah. He says football is not essential.
Well, can I balance this conversation, please? Because we're all leaning towards the negative side.
What's the positive, Junior?
The great Jesse Lingard is saying that he's ready to play.
What, Junior is just joking. But this discussion is really
ready to.
But this discussion definitely highlights the difficulties in trying to play football in the current climate. One other big point regarding Project Restart that the Premier League teams owners have to decide is regarding the venues that they will play if they eventually restart. Neutral venue was part of the original proposal by the UK government. They want to play these games at 8 or 10 neutral venues. The problem with that is that the 6 teams in the lower parts of the league allegedly are not in line with that line of thinking and that proposal. The main issue for them is that their sponsors, the Amex of the world, paid money for that stadium, and subsequently they don't want to have that sponsorship dollars go out the door. Your thoughts on this? So neutral venue seems to be maybe being pushed off the table.
Hey, let me tell you something, man. You see the mere fact that neutral venues are being brought up in this conversation, that should tell everybody that the team's infrastructure is not ready to put the players at risk. They don't have the infrastructure in place. Whatever protocols are out there for the English FA or the English government, the British government to say this area is good enough for people to come through, they don't have it at those stadiums. But yet we're talking about playing the games. The mere fact that we cannot say every team is ready to host a football game, but yet we are going to depend on said teams to have their players ready to play in a football game, I don't know.
Another meeting is set for Monday. Teams will actually start training on Monday in small groups, and then they will plan ahead to see how they can escalate the actual training protocols in terms of getting them in larger groups. come on, this issue of liability for these players, the fact that if any player becomes infected, and hopefully it doesn't happen, and with some of the repercussions that we've seen with COVID infected cases, it's not decided yet in the EPL. Do you think the league should step forward and make that commitment to protect those players if they get infected and certain adverse events?
If the league does not put that forward, I think players will. I mean, for me, as an ordinary person, I would demand that. I would demand some protection, some coverage. So, I mean, I would be shocked if players or their representatives don't ask for that. I mean, that's one of the most important parts of any deal, I think, for any footballer. Protection.
So big dates coming up. May 18, next Premier League meeting. May 19, players may return to group training on the social distancing protocols. May 25th, UEFA deadline for leagues to have a finalized plan for restarting their seasons. June 1st, government date for possible return of elite sport behind closed door in the UK. And June 12th, Premier League aiming to restart with fixtures. Watch the space. Ball Chat will keep you live and keep you in tune, but it's a very, very difficult thing to decide and how to actually go about making those decisions.
Jason and Dalton having an interesting conversation. Jason said that, Dalton, you can get it anywhere, anytime, but you put yourself at greater risk by being on the field of play. Dalton said, Jason, these players will be tested more than regular people. And Jason said, look, if the Olympics, the largest sporting event in the world, can be put off, what of these leagues? So if the largest event in the world can be what of these leagues, Jason, we can answer that question for you. Olympics is every 4 years. So if a sponsor is buying or sponsoring the Olympics, they have a 4-year window that they already paid for their sponsorship. So if Olympics will go on 3 years from now, I don't think it really hurt the revenue. It's going to hurt the competitors that a 32-year-old that's probably looking forward to Olympics now that at age 34, 35, they might not be in the same shape. But that would be the answer to that question still. Well, I don't know what to think about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not trivial. I mean, I know that, like we always said on this platform, money is one of the big drivers of trying to restart this league. And I mean, if we look at just in our own space here in our own backyard, there's the move to try to open up the economy, and football is also part of the economy there, and one of the drivers of trying to generate revenue. So there are no right or wrong answers in this, in my opinion, in this landscape. Is just trying to find the best way to navigate how to go about restarting. What if we delay restart and then in September or in fall, the pandemic is still running rampant and we still don't have any sort of clear path forward? So we don't know. There are certain uncertainties that are out there. And the German Bundesliga will give us some guidance of how to proceed, I think.
Yeah.
League Two officially ended. Come on. I guess League Two say, yo, call it. We're done. Season's officially ended in League Two in England. League One clubs met on Friday. Meeting ended in deadlock. They're supposed to meet again. A few of the clubs in League One are complaining that financially they cannot continue like this, so just end it. Your thoughts on this? League Two just calling it?
I mean, everything is financial. They've been complaining about not getting any money. They can't sustain it. So, I mean, I think they did what they thought was good for them. It was their decision. And I think this was the best way forward for them.
And the thing for League One, I would presume, is this idea that with relegation and promotions still not off the table in the EPL, if a Sunderland or Ipswich, who are supporters of continuing the league, can somehow facilitate or can get promoted, that'd be a good thing for their financial bottom line in the long run, right?
Yeah, and that's a good point. But as I said, maybe they thought about other things, financially, and just maybe they just think that it's just not sustainable. They don't have the the equipment. They don't have the money to disinfect the grass. You know, all those are the things. I mean, I think they just did what was best for them. So let's see what happens going forward.
Yeah, it's a complicated thing. All right, moving away from the EPL, and one thing I wanted to chime in on: 5 subs in Bundesliga. You saw it yesterday. We forgot to mention that in one of the games. Actually, Schalke used 5 subs. It didn't really help any. Come on, VAR was also clear and present in the Bundesliga. Were you happy with that? I wanted to get your opinion on that. It seems like
it seems as if with no fans in the stands,
exactly.
VAR got everything correct.
Exactly. The fans was not. I think the fans being away seems to put less pressure on the referee and the.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all their decisions were spot on. The offside versus Bayern, the PK calls. I mean, they were really on spot. So I'm like, okay, let's see. But the subs, I must say, I was a little bit hesitant when it came to the subs, but it really didn't slow the game down. It really didn't interfere with the game. So I had no issues with the sub, except that the Schalke coach should have used those subs earlier. But anyways, different time.
Dr. David Wagner, your one time, Schalke coach, formerly of Huddersfield. Big up El Pistolero from, yo, brethren, we miss your family. Hopefully you're doing well. Long time not tuning up. Welcome back, football family. Joseph Frame said regarding Junior's comments about the Olympics, he says, hurt the country that put billions in preparation regarding the Olympics. Moving away from the EPL and Bundesliga Project Restart, Serie A is looking to start up in June. Come on, give us a quick roundup on the other major leagues in Europe if you have any other major news from them. I know La Liga is contemplating a kickoff date sometime in June also.
Yeah, the La Liga and Serie A is saying that they want to start mid-June. No fans in the stadiums. They're still going to do the social distancing celebrations. Footballers will be in face masks, and they'll be testing players for COVID. So it's basically the same model that Germany rolled out this weekend. So it's going to be a little bit interesting. They're still working on medical protocols as they're talking, saying that they have to see how it goes since Italy was so hard hit with the coronavirus. So they are working on it. And mid-June seems reasonable. Players they're training, but not in groups, but they are training. So hopefully mid-June will be something to see for Serie A and La Liga.
Yeah, same protocol. Bundesliga have to get this right. El Pistolero says, been volunteering in the community to give out food boxes. That's what's up. Big up El Pistolero, doing some good groundwork, helping the community. Ball Chat family, ride with those who want to help the community. That's why we love Reno FC and Waterhouse. All right, moving away from football in Europe to football in our own backyard. Big president, Mr. Michael Ricketts, called the shot. He officially said the final word on the football season on the island. He said, yo, I will call it, annul the season. No promotion, no relegation. More lines. Big up yourself, family. Your thoughts? Kasafa president, Mr. Dwayne Dillian, seems that the decision was rushed. Do you think that they should wait? Or was the right move? Come on, Junior.
Junior, you want to go first?
Well, was it the right move? My whole issue with this circus and this patty shop that is now opening all over again is,
oh my God,
why the hell you guys don't talk behind closed doors before you go out to the public? Why do we have to hear about this cat fight in the public space? Michael Ricketts is on the side of players' health. Kasafa president is on the side of making money. And
to be fair to Dwayne, he says, the authorities have made, the JFF they will abide by the rules of the JFF, or to paraphrase the statement. He just putting on a different perspective. I don't know if it's a cat fight.
That perspective need to happen behind closed doors. We don't need this tug of war, because then you're going to have Arnett supporters want football play, have Tivoli supporters don't want football play, and then you have bigger problems.
Yeah.
If the messaging need to be consistent, is one vice. It's one league. It's not two leagues. So Kasafa, if you don't like the facts that GFF want to do this, go start your own league and bring the side them who want to play, and you pay them. Go start a different league. It's that simple.
Benton, roll out the disclaimer for me.
Yeah, those are the views of Junior Pringle only, and not a ball shot. Kasafa, don't start your own league. Those are the rules. And Kasafa is one of the main power brokers in the entire setup of football structure in Jamaica. Come on. I mean, the president, Michael Ricketts, said, things are not improving. CONCACAF already suspend football until July 2020. President, Premier League Chairman Mike Henry, in a letter that was hoping to have a restart sometime in July, but he seems to abide by the decision of Mr. President Michael Ricketts. You think, what's the problem with the decision?
Carvel Stewart, the vice chairman of the PLCA, says this is a backward step. He says it's an amateur approach to football. He says people who are running the JFF know nothing about football. They don't play the game. They don't know what's going on. There are how many games left? 4 games left for the season. He just thought it was too early. Listen, we can't have it both ways. So Christopherson is saying that they have a handle on it, right? So they're just saying they need to wait. Carvel is saying that they're going to lose $30 million in sponsorship, in revenue. Numbers seem high. When them get the 30 million, what them do it because them don't put it in infrastructure. So I don't know. The numbers seem, but that's what he's saying. So he's saying that he understands that you're thinking about the human element, as Ricketts said. But he just said it's a backward step. The clubs can't afford it. You have no promotion, no relegation. You have no golden boot winner. You don't have a leading goal scorer. You just don't have those things anymore. So he's saying we're in May.
We have a pandemic. Hello?
Yes, but that's what he's saying. He said that these players work so hard to reach here. We're in May. Just hold off until July. And he might have a point. July.
So them can't work out this year.
No, but you have 4 games, which could have been completed in 2 weeks, if that was so. But remember, we talked about it last week where we said maybe the problem is keeping the stadiums empty, because I don't know how you're going to tell Jamaica do not come to the game.
Exactly.
So I do understand it. And then talking about, is it Super League, where you have Kimani Mali, who is the owner for Falmouth United.
Yes,
then you have Waterhouse, who wants to be promoted. They've invested so much money. So it's financial.
Waterhouse.
Who get promoted? I'll get demoted again. Montego Bay. I'm sorry. Waterhouse people. Don't kill me. Don't kill me, Waterhouse people. Montego Bay got relegated, so they're working their way to get promoted. So it's like you have to.
And Arena FC also.
Yes. So it kind of, they understand, but they're disappointed. So I do get Ricketts' side, and it's kind of, I don't know why Carver Stewart come out so strong against Ricketts, because for him to say it's amateurish and it's backward, it's those are some strong words.
Yeah, and I think Junior's engineer point about keeping this behind closed doors, Junior. I mean, come on.
Not necessarily. You want to say it again?
Say it again, Junior.
Go start your own league. And if you don't want to start,
no.
If you
Those
don't
are views of Junior.
All right. So just like what we are saying about the governors in America, then, if you are so comfortable and confident making the players go out there and play football, have a barbecue at your house and invite the players them over. Show me that. show me that you are willing to put yourself in the same level of risk. When the games are playing, you go sit on nice stands. Because all of this backward and fool talking back and forth should have happened behind closed doors. Right? Don't make any sense. Because right now, both of them are now lobbying for public support to put pressure on the other side. That is all this is coming down to. And I don't know if they try to talk behind closed doors and they reach an impasse and now them get desperate. I don't know. But these things should have been hashed out before, because this mixed messaging is going to make it hard for the people to trust the league when the league come back. You think they have a problem now? When the league ready to come back, and then if they don't have a vaccine, and what is the league doing? How are we now going to trust one side or the other? Are both sides going to come now and say, we've now mended our fences, we're ready to move forward? How would the fans believe that when you're sending mixed messages going into the problem? It's just to me, it is just careless on both parties.
Red Stripe, one of the big sponsors of the main sponsor of the Jamaican Premier League, as we call it, Red Stripe Premier League, put out a statement from company head of marketing Nomonda Donsa. Said, quote, Red Stripe supports the decision of the PLCA, JFF, and other local bodies that have taken measures to comply with government guidelines to contain the spread of COVID-19. Any decisions concerning the way forward will be made in conjunction with the PLCA and the JFF, end quote. So clearly, getting the backing of the sponsor, the big sponsor on board here, was vital for Mr. Ricketts. I mean, that essentially is the end goal, right? You get the sponsor, and he alluded to in the statement. He alluded to the point, and Kamoni spoke about this in a recent episode. Is that you cannot keep fans if you decide to play the games. How can you play those games behind closed doors? Do they even have closed doors?
Behind closed gates. But look at it, but Jamaicans are like this. I have seen free events and them scale the fence.
Yes, so ultimately, all right.
And big up Pure Vida watching on Island Sports. He said that the local league should have ended. Oh, he also, before he said Jerome Boateng looked big in eating enough. He also said that, the league should have played to the end, finish, not just be abandoned.
Okay, not just be abandoned. All right,
but hold on to, and one of the issues, like Falklands FC president Dalton Reed, he said that one of the issues he had was the lack of communication. He said nobody spoke to them, nobody talked to them, the decision was just made, and they heard of the decision. So, I mean, honestly, they really run things. You need input from everybody. And I guess no vote was taken. It was just that Ricketts just said, we're going to chop it off, and that's how it is.
Well, and if that is exactly accurate, if there wasn't any communication, then that's where oftentimes we see some of the downfall in leadership from Mr. Ricketts and his group. It's just, we got to communicate. I don't disagree with the decision to cancel the league. It's just that we have to make sure we talk to all the stakeholders and have a dialogue before we make such executive move. All right, we're pushing up against the clock, but we want to talk about Damian Lowe, big baller, big central defender Damian Lowe, and some development regarding his contract with IK Start. Come on, can you give us some background and some update on what's going on with Mr. Lowe, the second of the Lowe ballers?
So based on Twitter, well, Damian told his team bye-bye. He said that on Twitter, he said that he has gotten some lifelong friends. So he told the club thank you and whatever. Based on articles that I was reading, I think they mutually agreed to terminate the contract. Damian said, and to be honest, from a human level, I understand what Damian was saying. He says his girlfriend, she works in a hospital, and that she needed help, with the baby. They have a baby together, so there was no one to help him with the baby, help her with the baby. So even though he asked his club, and his club did not give him permission, he left because he thought that family. He knows that family is the most important thing. So I guess the club didn't see that way, and they decided to go their separate ways. But let's be fair. Damien is 27 years old. He's a solid defender, and I think he'll do well. He'll find another club.
Yeah, Junior, thanks for that update. Come on, I mean, Junior, your thoughts on this whole situation with Damien? I mean, it's a very unfortunate time. You don't want to lose a contract in the middle of this crisis that's currently going on. But like Kamon said, he's a very good defender, and he will pick back up, right?
Yeah, I think it's very unfortunate. And just going off what has been put out publicly, I think both sides are showing some class publicly, but it's very unfortunate. And unless our eyes are wrong, unless we cannot see what a good footballer is, I question the decision to terminate the contract. There must have been something else going on.
So that's the elephant in the room. Like if he's been a contributor to this club, he's helped them in games. And he has a family that essentially needs his help. I mean, I don't understand this idea of terminating this contract.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that we can get Damian Lowe to pass through on ball chat and not even past this. Not necessarily talk about the situation, but it will have to be addressed at some point. But yeah, and like what El Pistolero said, if Lowe was a world-class player like Ronaldo, he would have got the time from the club. A lot of players got the time to head home to their family, so why not Damian? And that's a very good question. Where was the break in communication? Because I'm sure if both parties sat down and both parties put their cards on the table, I'm sure Damian would have said, I have to go now. And the club would say, if you go now, you are going to lose this contract. Is that what happened? And why couldn't there be some compromise? Why? I don't know. It just sounds like we don't get the full story. And it sounds like there's a lot that has not been said.
That's still out there.
Yeah, I just think the club is just probably making an example of Damian. I saw where Boateng, he broke quarantine or whatever to go look for his sick child as well. And on his way back, he got into an accident. And so Bayern decided to fine him. I mean, he wasn't terminated, but he got a fine. So, as I said, there were a couple of MLS teams that wanted Damian, before MLS season started. So I think he'll get a team. Damian should be in Europe, but if he lands at Inter Miami, for example, then he'll do well.
Yeah, and Balcha will follow up on the story and try to reach out to IK Start and see what is their position. They put out the statement or what exactly, if they're willing to talk more about the situation. But I mean, a player who have left it all on the field for them was a bit disheartening to see this transpired. All right, moving away from the Damian Lowe situation as we head home and wrap up today's show.
But before you cut out, Jason Frame said that that club should be demonized unless there are underlying factors, family over funds. El Pistolero said, I believe this has been going on for a while. They gave him an ultimatum, I believe, and he took it. Family is always first. I agree. If that is the case, regardless, family is always first. Regardless.
Yeah, it's always first. It's always first.
And Jason Frame is asking, what example would that be? Come on. The hell with your child, stick to the contract. He's asking that question. Is it to hell with your child?
Come on, he's looking for words here,
Yeah, I'm trying to be careful with my words. So yes. The example is, you asked for my permission. I did not give you my permission, but you decided to leave. So I'm going to show you that you're not bigger than the club. That's just an example. That's just teaching. Because we can say it for us, it's family over football. Yes. For the club, for some clubs, it's a business. And the thing is this, their season is going to start soon. If Damien had gone back, he would have been quarantined. He probably would have missed some matches. So we are looking at the human aspect of it, Jason. That doesn't mean that everybody is looking at the human aspect of it. And if you talk to some players from some clubs, they'll tell you that they could not go home. I'm quite sure you know some players that play in leagues and they're not in Jamaica. They're where they're supposed to be. They're at their clubs. So for Damien, it was his family over everything, and we can agree and we can disagree on Twitter. It's kind of split. All of a sudden, some of the fans having problems with Damien that we never even hear about before. But that's just how it is, Junior. Business for some and family for others.
Yeah, it's definitely so. But like I said, he's a big, we definitely back his talent. We think that he will get picked up somewhere else, and we'll try to follow up and try to get to the meat of the matter of what happened in the story and try to dig up some more information on this in the coming weeks. El Pistolero wanted, as we wrap up the show, El Pistolero wanted to get our thoughts on a Bailey and McGee interview and Shamar Nicholson interview. Do we exactly know what he's talking about regarding, is this as the criticism of Tapa's tactics?
It's not tactics, it's the team selection.
Team selection.
I disagree with Shamar Nicholson. You know why? Because if Tapa did not introduce new faces into the squad, Shamar would not have been. No, seriously. I mean, I argue with Tapa all the time, or read Tapa all the time. But if Tapa did not introduce new faces, Shamar would not have been in the squad, and he would not have had his breakout time with the Jamaica national team. Nothing is wrong with introducing new faces, and I do agree with Bailey where he's saying that Tapa can't have, for every competition, you can't have 11 starters. You can't have a new starter. You need a core. But at the same time, if there are holes to fill, then you have to fill the holes. McGee. So I do understand what they're saying, but at the same time, you have every squad have a core, but they also introduce new players as well. That's how you get a breakout star.
Listen,
Junior, what is the timing for this? Why? Talk your mind, Junior, cause
you really want me to talk my mind right now?
Yes, go ahead. Jason, before you do, Jason says, my point exactly. Come on, Lee.
Listen, man.
What? Jason agreed with me. What Jason agreed, Mr.
Yeah, regarding the Shamar Nicholson.
Listen, man. Shamar, I rate you as a football player. And you're such a talented youth, and the possibility is endless. Leon Bailey, you are the biggest baller coming for representing Jamaica right now in terms of stature. But we're not still players. You can't sit down and talk about the coach and talk about the program and then expect the coach to bring you back in and then treat you like nothing ever happened. And you expect your teammates to sit down around you and think that nothing never happened. Shamar, you're young. Let me tell you something. Jamaica probably best defender is Ian Goodison. If Simoes had your mentality, we'll never know who Ian Goodison is. If Simoes had your mentality, we'd never have a Paul Hall, Dean Burton, Fitzroy Simpson. We'd never have them baller there. We would never have Onandi Lowe playing for Jamaica. Man, shut up and play football, man. And make coaches be coaches and players be players. If you're good enough to get drafted into the team, come and play for the team. What about I talk about team selection? And then expect people to sit down now and arms and gloves you and friend you up when you come back in. Those are things that will create cracks in the team. Because next year, a new baller might come in and be a big baller. I remember you did say a year ago, a man like me shouldn't be in a team. Him not gonna like you. Them things are unnecessary, big man. It's a poor decision. Somebody, you see, them need to hire me for start give people ears as you know.
Hey,
those are the things that Junior
I remember now. Remember, say Topper is a man with all grudges. I try to remember that. Topper not forget nothing.
I do not understand why this was necessary. I like Junior, you always say it seems like man have too much time for the man in quarantine.
Too much time.
Why this is necessary? Why? I mean, if not doing an interview, we're not, I don't get it. It's just causing unnecessary friction potentially right now in a situation that was going fine.
And the Pure Vida said that the player's speech shows the negative culture in the football in Jamaica. Hey, I remember battling Toluca, right? You remember that famous Toluca incident? When Messam stand up.
This was in Mexico when a man go for a rock stone.
Messam. Big up Gregory Messam anyway, you stand up. Go for a big stone. Not getting in the fight, you go right up at the top of the hill with a stone in your left hand. And what happened at Azteca 4 or 5 days after that? Jamaica get most hours. 6 love?
At 6, I think we got beaten.
And I don't remember who got the red card. I think it was a defender got the red card. And Simo is on the low. Go play a sweeper for me now. And this is public knowledge. So we don't want nobody say what talk bad about players. This is public knowledge. The man said how much $1 million man play sweeper. Referring to Walter Boyd, right? All of those cracks that was in that team. These are how the cracks start. We're seeing the genesis of cracks within the team. Because obviously Nicholson have favorite player where him like a player on the same team with. And him probably thinking to himself, there's a chance my favorite player won't play for me for Jamaica. So if your favorite player is a left winger and Topper bring in a next left winger, you carry a grudge against that left winger? Man, come on, man.
I don't understand the friction in the squad. Just trying to wrap up and get through some of these comments. El Pistolera said, but Junior, at least we know where their heart is. And he also says, I guess he wasn't so hard on the selection, just that they need to really have a nice core to work with so they can have good chemistry. Jason Frame says, my issue is that they wouldn't say this about the club they play for and their coaching and management staff. Big up yourself, Mr. Hines. Stefan Hines says, big up on yourself. Welcome to the Ball Chat family. My bottom line on this statement is that I just don't understand why Derek McGee, Leon Bailey, Shamar Nicholson doing this interview. Do your interview.
I mean,
but
they
don't
can
talk.
But you see, and that's the thing. Players are people. They're human beings. They can talk. They can have opinions. But remember that there are consequences. I don't know because Ricketts is upset, and he's saying that he hasn't taken kindly to the comments, and he referred him to the disciplinary committee of the JFF. I never even know that was a thing, but okay, the disciplinary committee.
Say it with a straight face, come on. Say it with a straight
So Ricketts is saying that Leon Bailey has been, referred to the disciplinary committee of the JFF, and the player might be sanctioned. Possible action might be taken. So people are upset because they're saying that Shamar said the same things. Will he be sanctioned as well? But we have to understand that if players are unhappy, they're going to speak. I don't know what's going to happen from here, but we know the JFF will not do anything. They're just talking. It's what is it again, Junior? Optics.
It's optics. El Pistolera said McGee just spoke about his experience in Belgium, nothing about the national team. So if I loop McGee in with the Shamar and Liam Bailey's statements or sentiments, my apologies.
Yeah, we were talking about Nicholson and Bailey. We were talking about Nicholson.
And El Pistolera said he spoke about the difference between the league in Belgium and in Jamaican football. But so we will see what will happen here and what transpires. But this is not a good look. Camon said, yes, players definitely have opinions like people. There are people, they have their opinions, and the optics is what matter. But Bridget, in a quarantine, not doing an interview, so stay wide of the coach, Bridget, and them selection policy.
So this is a question asked by Junior, real quick. That has nothing to do with ball chat, so please, people, for professional footballers, don't blacklist ball chat. You can't blacklist me. We're good.
These are the comments of Junior Pringle.
Well, it's not a comment, it's a question.
A question.
So two questions. One to Leon and one to Shamar. So Leon, is Butler a part of the core that you want to play for Jamaica? That's one question. And the next question is, Shamar, how you feel about Kyle Butler coming into this program as a new face? I don't know. That's just a question we want answered. So
no, but I think Kyle Butler retired. I think he retired from playing football and he's now an engineer. He has his own label. So I think he's branching out and doing other things outside of football. So I don't think he's going to be in the conversation. And I think maybe the players frame their answers or their comments wrong. I think what they're talking about maybe is the same players, a core group. So let's just, because I talk about it as well. I talk about having a core group. So every time we Tapa put out 11, is 11 different players. Maybe that's what they're talking about, because it can't be introduced to new faces, because that's how you build a national team. Leon Bailey is a new face. He came into the squad, so we can say he has cemented his spot in the squad. Same thing with Shamar Nicholson. He was a new face. He came in and he cemented his spot. He took over from Darren. So I don't think they're talking about never bringing in new faces, but I just think they probably framed it wrong and they're talking about Tapa selection. But again, that's not your job. You can mumble in your WhatsApp group and talk about selection process, but you can't go out there and talk about the coach, especially Theodore Whitmore, who don't forget nothing.
Come on. Before Shamar became Shamar Nicholson, he never had those thoughts.
Those are the views of Junior Pringle again.
No. Before Shamar was Shamar, he never had those thoughts. When he came on and scored a big goal against America, get the well-deserved contract to go overseas and play. Where did this mindset come from? Because this must be new. This cannot be when you were trying to get into the program.
I have no idea. Granted, football family, Leon Bailey, Shamar, Derek McGee, if you want to come talk to the football family, you're welcome to forward anytime. Tapa, yo, go easy upon them when training start. Well, Tapa, go easy.
I big up Jason. Jason said, them asked Ricketts who the head of the disciplinary committee was, and him never know. I'm just saying what was said. When they tell me something that I'm going to beat Ricketts anymore, but Jason Frame brought it up, so I'm just saying, because we have to say what we see in the comments. So I did hear that interview, but I'm not. Jason Frame said that. So big up Jason Frame. Top of our Ricketts, if you want to beat anybody, Jason Frame. Not us.
And before we wrap up, we're pushing up way against the clock. Come on, stepping away from this topic, but as it relates to Jamaican football, Darren Mattox, have we heard anything as it relates to his case in the situation? Any news on that front? I know with the pandemic, a lot of court systems are closed, but any news on that?
No, nothing. I know he's in Jamaica,
okay.
But yeah, so nothing. So I think that's some good news for Darren.
Yeah.
Before we go, I wanted to say big up to St. Anne's finest female footballer, Jody Brown, Jody Babyface Assassin Brown, as she's called. She graduated from high school yesterday, and she was also named Athlete of the Year. So she will be attending the Florida State University. So mad props and shout out to the girl from St. Anne.
Big up Jody Brown. Props. Anything else come on?
Nothing is going on. MLS is still trying to figure out what they're doing. Same thing with USL. The ridiculous proposal about playing tournament style down at Disney, it was just so laughable. So they're just trying to figure it out and see what's going to happen. But
engineer, what about you? Anything else? We can wrap up the show now, because management has said cut it off.
I have nothing else, boss. Just don't say I got to edit the signature because we're now also live on Twitch. So people,
One proud and twitchy.
proud of the Twitch.
No, it's not like that.
So people, you can follow us on Instagram at BallChat Podcast, on Twitter at BallChat1, on Facebook at BallChat. You can also email us at ballchatpodcast@gmail.com. And as you can see right now, the full episodes are available live on Island Sports Network, also on our YouTube page, on our Facebook page, and also on Twitch. So you can also watch the show again. Replay for the show will be available right afterwards if you miss any part. And if during the week, if you're an essential worker, you're on your way to work, you're doing something, you're doing anything in the house, and you need something to listen to in your ears, you can listen to the show again. You can listen to it on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher. We are everywhere. We at any audio platform that you prefer or like listening to your podcast on. Let me know. Send us an email, and we will get it on there. That we're in the business of creating product, and we're going to give it to you. So I hate that to the people.
And one last comment. El Pistolero says Liverpool will win the title. I am out. Later, family.
Liverpool already with the title. So, yo,
CSK football family. We're going on the road, you know.